Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom introduced terrifying new dinosaurs like the Indoraptor and brought iconic species such as the Carnotaurus and Baryonyx to life on screen. But sadly, not all of the planned dinosaurs made it into the final cut. Some fan-favorite species, including the Spinosaurus and even the Giganotosaurus, were originally planned, only to be mysteriously removed. Whether due to budget limitations, storyline tweaks, or simply a shortage of screen time, they never got their big moment. Still, their legacy lives on in early concept art and script drafts, keeping the excitement alive among fans. In this video, we'll take a look at the dinosaurs that almost made it to the movie, the creatures that came close but never had the chance to roar on screen. The Dilophosaurus, famous for its frilled neck and venomous spit in its iconic scene with Dennis Nedry in the original Jurassic Park, was initially planned to appear in Fallen Kingdom. In an early scene, a pair of Dilophosaurs was set to ambush the team retrieving a bone from the Indominus Rex skeleton. However, this scene was ultimately cut, likely to maintain the suspense and pacing of the opening sequence. Interestingly, the Dilophosaurus still made subtle appearances in the film. Its distinctive hoot can be heard in the jungle during the bone retrieval operation, suggesting its presence nearby. Another deleted scene involved a Dilophosaurus caged aboard the Arcadia, the ship transporting dinosaurs off Isla Nublar. Director J.A. Bayona ultimately decided to omit this scene, feeling that the ship's sequences were already extensive. It's truly a shame that we didn't get to see this incredible dinosaur in action. In the final version, the Dilophosaurus only appears as a statue alongside a velociraptor inside Lockwood Manor. It was also featured in Fallen Kingdom merchandise, such as Lego sets, despite not having an active role in the film. It wasn't until Jurassic World Dominion that the Dilophosaurus finally made its long-awaited return to the screen, once again hissing and hunting like it did in the original. Beipiaosaurus was one of the most unexpected dinosaurs considered for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, at least according to early concept art. In an early version of the script, the main characters found themselves trapped inside a bus hanging precariously on the edge of a cliff. Outside, the eruption of Mount Sibo unleashed chaos as dinosaurs, including Beipiaosaurus, Gallimimus, and Triceratops, charged through the forest trying to escape the eruption's fury. This intense sequence never made it to the final film. Colin Trevorrow later confirmed that while Beipiaosaurus appeared in concept art, there were no actual plans to animate or include it in the finished version. Originally, Pachyrhinosaurus was set to appear in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom as the new ceratopsian species. In fact, early designs and even some marketing materials mentioned it by name. However, things changed when Jack Horner, the franchise's scientific advisor, pointed out that the model resembled a Sinoceratops more closely. As a result, the filmmakers decided to change the name accordingly, and Pachyrhinosaurus was replaced. The design change came so late that even Mattel released a toy labeled as Sinoceratops, but the figure clearly resembled a Pachyrhinosaurus. Interestingly, although Pachyrhinosaurus never physically appeared in the film, at least one specimen was captured before the Mount Sibo eruption, as its name appears on the Arcadia Manifest list. These individuals were likely sold at the Lockwood Manor auction, or perhaps escaped into the wild along with the other dinosaurs during the dinosaur liberation. The Deinosuchus, one of the most terrifying creatures from the Cretaceous period, was almost introduced in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, albeit in a rather sinister way. In a deleted scene from the film, the carcass of a Deinosuchus can be seen, serving as a chilling reminder of its past presence on the island before the disaster. This prehistoric beast, resembling a crocodile but far larger, would have made a terrifying addition to Isla Nublar's ecosystem. Interestingly, Deinosuchus DNA was used in the creation of the Indominus Rex, specifically influencing the number of teeth the hybrid possessed. While we never saw it alive, its legacy lives on through one of the most dangerous creatures ever engineered by InGen. Its exclusion from the final cut left many fans wondering what it would have been like to witness this apex predator stalking the island's rivers and swamps. Einiosaurus, the unusual horned dinosaur recognized by its forward-curving nasal horn, appears in concept art fleeing the volcanic eruption alongside other dinosaurs, including the iconic Tyrannosaurus rex. At one point, Einiosaurus was being considered as the new ceratopsian for the franchise, with 3 individuals featured in early designs. However, it was later replaced by Pachyrhinosaurus, which was eventually swapped out for Sinoceratops, the ceratopsian that ultimately made it into the film. Hadrosaurus nearly made its debut in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. In early concept art, the main characters were originally supposed to escape the erupting volcano aboard a bulldozer. As they raced through the chaos, they would pass a herd of Hadrosaurus, fleeing for their lives. It was a dynamic and thrilling sequence, one that could have showcased these duck-billed dinosaurs in action for the very first time in the franchise. But in the end, both the bulldozer escape and the Hadrosaurus herd were scrapped from the final cut, leaving this classic Hadrosaur as just another dinosaur lost to the drafts of pre-production. Camarasaurus, one of the most recognizable long-necked dinosaurs, was briefly considered during the early development of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, as shown in concept art from that stage. Its inclusion hinted at an early idea to expand the sauropod lineup beyond just Brachiosaurus and Apatosaurus, a fresh addition that could have added both variety and grandeur to the volcanic shape sequences. However, despite its appearance in these early visual drafts, Camarasaurus never progressed beyond the conceptual stage. Director Colin Trevorrow later confirmed that it was never part of the film's final plans. It remains yet another prehistoric giant left behind in the art department, never to grace the big screen. Styracosaurus was originally considered as the featured ceratopsian species in early drafts of the script. With its imposing nasal horn and dramatic spiny frill, it was a visually stunning candidate. However, it was dropped during the initial stages of development. The role passed through several contenders, first Einiosaurus, then Pachyrhinosaurus, before ultimately going to Sinoceratops, the ceratopsian that appeared in the final film. Although Styracosaurus never made it to the big screen, it remains a fan favorite that many would have loved to see come to life in the saga. Metriacanthosaurus was among the many dinosaurs originally planned for inclusion in Fallen Kingdom. In an early version of the script, Owen Grady would have crossed paths with this predator during a chaotic showdown involving a Carnotaurus and an Allosaurus. Just moments before Mount Sibo's eruption, it would have been a spectacular scene, 3 large carnivores fighting for survival as the volcano roared in the background. Interestingly, this dinosaur was first name-dropped in the original Jurassic Park, its DNA labeled on a storage container in the lab. Despite its potential, it was ultimately cut. Reportedly, Universal was concerned that younger viewers might confuse it with the Tyrannosaurus Rex due to their similar body shapes and features. In the end, the studio chose clarity over variety, especially for the younger audience. It's a real shame this scene was cut. The missed opportunity to see Metriacanthosaurus, Carnotaurus, and Allosaurus battling it out during a volcanic eruption is something many fans still regret. It could have been one of the most epic showdowns in the entire franchise. The Spinosaurus, remembered by fans for its ferocious battle with the T-Rex in Jurassic Park 3, was originally slated to return in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Early concept art imagined a dramatic showdown between the Spinosaurus and Rex amid the chaos of the Mount Sibo eruption, lava, smoke, and fire surrounding the clash of titans. It would have been the long-awaited rematch, but sadly, it never made it to the big screen. Another concept art image shows the Spinosaurus being pierced or crushed by falling volcanic debris. This image suggested a grim fate for one of Isla Sorna's most feared predators, one that would have closed its story in a brutal and unforgettable way. Ultimately, these scenes were scrapped due to their complexity. The filmmakers opted for a different approach, depicting a battle between Sinoceratops and Carnotaurus. Interestingly, years later, at Camp Cretaceous, a spiritual version of the rematch took place where the Spinosaurus faced 2 T-Rexes, Big E.T. and Little E.T. It would have been fascinating to see the Spinosaurus return in a live-action film. Revisiting this iconic predator on the big screen, especially in a rematch against the T-Rex, would have been a thrilling moment for longtime fans. Giganotosaurus, one of the largest carnivorous dinosaurs ever discovered, was nearly introduced in Fallen Kingdom. Early concept art imagined it in 2 standout moments. In one piece, the Giganotosaurus charges through the chaos of the dinosaur stampede, only to be impaled by a massive chunk of volcanic rock. A brutal fate reminiscent of what we eventually saw happen to the Allosaurus in the finished film. Another striking image shows the towering predator emerging through clouds of ash and smoke, its enormous silhouette barely visible in the haze as it looms over Owen and Claire. The creature was envisioned as a terrifying force of nature amidst the eruption's destruction. Some fans speculate that the idea might have included a legendary clash between the franchise's 3 apex predators, the T-Rex, Spinosaurus, and Giganotosaurus. A battle of that magnitude set against the fury of Mount Sibo could have been a cinematic highlight, but in the end, the scene never made it past the concept stage. Colin Trevorrow later confirmed that while Giganotosaurus appeared in early visual development, there were no solid plans to include it in the final script, with the eruption sequence already packed with dinosaurs like Carnotaurus, Allosaurus, and Rexy. Adding another giant predator would have overcrowded the scene. Luckily, the Giganotosaurus didn't remain in the shadows for long. 4 years later, it made its explosive debut in Jurassic World Dominion, stepping into the spotlight as one of the saga's most fearsome and iconic new additions, culminating in an epic clash with the T-Rex. So that's a wrap on these incredible dinosaurs that were cut from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. It's fascinating to think about what could have been if they'd made it to the big screen. Which of these creatures would you have loved to see in action? Or maybe there's another dinosaur you think should have been included instead. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more behind the scenes content from the world of Jurassic Park.